Quick, I want you to think of the person closest to you. I'll give you a few moments. Got it? Now, I want you to imagine them gone. Just like that. What would you do? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paul Flavio the Coon, and today we're diving into Tyler Johnson Was Here, a novel by J. Coles. This story revolves around Marvin Johnson, a young black teenager whose world is turned upside down when his twin brother Tyler is tragically killed by police. It's a gripping, emotional story about justice, perseverance, and finding your voice in the face of tragedy. I hope you stick with it, because this is a story that deserves to be heard all the way through. Marvin Johnson is an observant black teenager living in the heart of Sterling Point, Alabama. He's got dark short hair and melanated skin, just like me. In a lot of ways, I see parts of myself in him. His twin brother Tyler, on the other hand, always fills the room with confidence and charisma. Unlike Marvin, who is more comfortable watching than being watched. He's into chemistry and photography, things that help him understand the world without having to explain himself. His biggest dream? Getting into MIT and making his mom proud. But behind all that ambition lies someone who carries a lot. Fear of confrontation, fear of being misunderstood, and fear of being a young black man in America. He's loyal, thoughtful, and emotionally grounded, but always carrying this heavy mix of emotions: grief, pressure, and the constant fight to not disappear. But after his twin brother Tyler is unjustly killed by police, everything changes. Marvin's goal shifts from personal success to fighting for justice, truth, and his brother's dignity. This moment becomes a turning point in Marvin's identity. He realizes that silence, once a form of safety, can also mean complicity. His journey becomes not just emotional, but political, and deeply necessary. Marvin doesn't just change, he awakens. I believe his motivation is fueled by love, especially for Tyler, his mom, and his community. This is because that love transforms his pain into purpose, giving him the strength to speak out when it's terrifying to do so. One of the most powerful and impactful moments for me was when Marvin speaks at the protest for his brother. It happens after so much has already been taken from him. Tyler, his sense of safety, and his trust in the system. Surrounded by a crowd holding signs with Tyler's name, Marvin steps forward with shaking hands and speaks. Not just for Tyler, but for every black life ignored or erased. What made this scene hit so hard was how real his fear felt. He's not a natural leader or someone used to public speaking. He's just a grieving teen, raw and overwhelmed, but he still speaks up. That's what courage looks like. Not confidence, but honesty. As Marvin says in this moment, they want us to be quiet. They want us to disappear, but I'm done being invisible. My brother deserved to be seen, and I deserve to be seen. This quote is the heart of his transformation. Marvin's journey becomes one of visibility, of reclaiming space in a world that tries to silence him. From silence to resistance, from fear to action, Marvin's path shows that the most powerful journeys often begin with loss, but lead to purpose. The first event takes place at a party where chaos erupts as gunshots are fired and the police arrive. This moment introduces fear and disorder, marking the beginning of Marvin's loss of control and safety. Tyler goes missing, and Marvin searches desperately for him. This drives Marvin into a state of uncertainty and helplessness, forcing him to confront how easily Black lives can vanish without a care. Tyler's eventually found dead, and the news reports blame gang violence. This false narrative enrages Marvin and shows how the media perpetuates discrimination by distorting the truth. Soon after, a video is released online proving that a police officer killed Tyler. This effectively develops the plot as it confirms the truth Marvin felt in his gut but couldn't prove. The shock of seeing his brother's final moments breaks something in him, but it also sharpens his focus. Marvin later speaks in the protest held in the town park, using his voice publicly for the first time.
Despite his fear, he steps into a leadership role, symbolizing a shift from silence to resistance.
In the final scene, Marvin and his mother laid Tyler's ashes at the Stone Point Estuary. This peaceful setting allows for Marvin to begin healing, honoring his brother with love and remembrance. Each event and its setting marks a key stage in Marvin's journey, transforming him from a boy who kept his head down to a young man who chooses to stand up. One major theme in Tyler Johnson's here is self-love and Black identity in the face of systemic racism. Throughout the novel, Marvin wrestles with how the world sees him. Someone who is dangerous, disposable, or invisible, especially after Tyler's death. But instead of letting that define him, Marvin begins to reclaim his identity with strength and pride. As he says, I tell myself that I love this skin, that I've always loved my Blackness, that if the world doesn't love me, I will love myself for the both of us. His journey becomes about finding power in his identity, even when society refuses to see him and see his worth. This theme is powerfully illustrated in a letter Marvin receives from his father in jail, where he writes, "When a young Black man learns to love himself in a world that profits from self-hate, that love becomes a weapon, sharp enough to cut through centuries of lies, and strong enough to build a future rooted in truth." Through both Marvin's growth and his father's words, the novel displays that self-love is generational and deeply necessary. A second key theme in the novel is the transformative power of using one's voice to speak out against injustice. At the start of the novel, Marvin believes that staying quiet is the safest way to survive. But after Tyler's life is cut short due to police brutality and the truth is buried, he realizes that silence can also be dangerous. This shift is captured when he says, "I used to think that being quiet was safe, but silence is its own kind of violence." His voice, once uncertain, becomes his way of honoring Tyler and confronting the system that took him. This transformation is emphasized when Marvin declares, "We have to demand it. We have to do everything within our power to raise our voices. We have to protest. Just praying and hoping for justice and grace and mercy won't help us right now." In this moment, Marvin fully embraces the power of action and collective resistance. J. Coles uses Marvin's journey to powerfully demonstrate that finding and using your voice is not only an act of personal courage, but a necessary step towards justice. These themes are still deeply relevant today, especially after the murder of George Floyd in 2020, which sparked global protests and renewed conversations about race, identity, and justice. Like Tyler, Floyd's life was taken by police brutality, And like Marvin, many people turn their grief into action. The rise of the Black Lives Matter movement reflects Marvin's journey, where self-love becomes resistance and speaking out becomes a demand for justice. In the end, Tyler Johnson Was Here isn't just a story about loss. It's a story about love, identity, and the courage it takes to speak up. Marvin's journey reminds us that silence never protects us, and that finding your voice, even when it shakes, is a radical act of survival. J. Cole uses Marvin to show that self-love and truth-telling aren't just themes, they're lifelines. Whether in Sterling Point or right in our world, one thing is clear. We all have a role in our fight for justice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.